entire Quran is a regurgitation of Semitic traditions. It's just Judaism and Christianity and Arab paganism and a little sprinkling of Zoroastrianism put into a blender. I mean, there's really quite a lack of originality. Even, you know, the name Allah comes from a Semitic deity, and it's just pretty obvious that all of those stories and anecdotes, and even much of the prose, even though they claim it's originally unique and divine, it's all a rerun from other things. It's just one of the earliest truly syncretic religions, actually, that just sort of mix, you know, like Santeria in the Caribbean, just takes different religions and sort of crams them together, rolls them up into a ball of dough.
Welcome to the show, Sarisa. How can we help you, sir?
Yeah, hi. First of all, I want to ask, can everyone hear/see me?
Yes.
Everyone? Yes. Okay, cool. Excellent. Well, it's kind of an expansion on the last question that was asked by the guy before you, Joel, I think his name was. Anyway, I'm currently, at the moment, because I'm a bit of an idiot, involved in something of an altercation with a self-confessed self-confessed creationist by the name of Chad Elliott, and I've already busted this out on him, hoping that this might make some sort of impact. But if, say, for example, we take the age of the human race, so we'll go with the smallest possible number, it's like 100,000 years that the recognizably modern human race has been on the planet. There's been an estimated 63,000 different religious systems on the planet during that time. Now, if we then consider that there are only an estimated 4,200 religious systems on the planet now, your first problem is you've got 58,800 different religious systems that have, by definition, died. No one is worshipping those anymore. Right? Those have been consigned to the charming little shelf of history marked myth and legend. So that's one of your first problems. The second problem is, like, as far as I'm aware, there is not a single religion that is compatible with another religion. You cannot be a Shintoist or a Hindu at the same time. So by definition, there's 4,199 different faith systems on the planet that are wrong, that are just straight up wrong. But as I was considering this question, something else then hit me. I mean, I think I'm right in saying that there's quite good archaeological evidence for Homo neanderthalis having quite sophisticated systems of religion, or at least sophisticated enough that they mourned their dead and there was ritual about it. So I think that, really boiling the question down to its simplest point, how do we know that any of the religions that were worshipped by Homo neanderthalis aren't, in fact, the right one?
Well, we don't actually know that Neanderthals had a religion, and we know that they buried their dead and they buried them with flowers, but this may well be because they stunk. I mean, we can't be absolutely sure of anything more than that. It would appear that the oldest religion would have been for the mother goddess. I mean, one of the oldest artifacts you always see is that rotund woman with a giant breast and giant hips. She's very obviously built for child rearing and that sort of thing. She is in artifacts and necropolis and things of that sort that date back well beyond 6,000 years ago, 6 to 12,000 years ago throughout Europe. And if there aren't any semblances of any other religion in that climate at that time, the first religion that you get that still continues today would be Hinduism, and you get the Rig Veda, which I think starts around 4,000 years ago, which is a bit awkward because the Bhagavad Gita says that the whole thing is accounting for a war that happened 5,000 years ago, but I don't know how they justify that. I'm sorry, that was completely off of your question, wasn't it?
Well, it still sort of fits in.
I think. Sorry. I wanted.
Go ahead.
Okay, there is one thing that you said was definitely incorrect, which is that religions are always mutually incompatible. There's a shining example of how that's not actually true in the Javanese peninsula. There's a religion called Abangan, which is a form of aberrant Sharia Islam, which actually integrates parts of Buddhism and Christianity. I think actually part of what we were saying this entire show as well is that Christianity itself is the sort of admixture of Zoroastrian, likely Roman, Greek, and Hebrew beliefs. So when you say things like it's not possible to be a Buddhist and is a Muslim, well, we have actually an example of where they are commingled and mixed together quite fluently.
I've got two other examples for you too. Voodoo and what is it? Chinese ancestor worship. What is practiced in, say, Thailand, for example, is a mixture of Confucianism / Taoism with elements that include tribal gods long forgotten in other areas. And all of these are sort of integrated exactly like they said in Big Trouble in Little China, where they say they take what they want from the different religions and leave the rest. It does seem to be exactly like that.
Well, the thing is, you can never stop people. I mean, there's no rules that we can lay down. There's nothing to take people, and people do this all the time. They'll take two religions with scriptures that are allegedly divine that clearly denounce one another, and yet they'll combine them and say that they're fine. Like, you know those coexist bumper stickers? Have you seen those where like every letter in the word coexist is a religious symbol? I thought, we'll have a lot easier a time coexisting when half the symbols on this bumper sticker are rendered completely meaningless because people have forgotten what they stood for. You know, the whole idea that, well, if we just take all these different religions and make a sloppy Joe out of them, we'll be better off. There's nothing to stop people from doing that, and I guess people typically who are that lenient or casual about it tend to be less obnoxious and aggressive overall with their religious beliefs than people who are dogmatic about one. But strictly speaking, often these scriptures are very clear, and the various prophets and key figures are very clear that these are meant to be incompatible with one another. But what can you do? You can't stop people from taking different aspects and creating new religions. You can't even stop them from doing, like I said, with Islam or even Christianity and Judaism, taking disparate faiths and slapping these aspects together and making a new religion, which isn't this sort of New Age hippie syncretic religion, but a dogmatic syncretic religion, which denounces all other forms, and even goes so far in Islam's case to say all other forms were actually once Islam, but then they became deviant. And this is a refresher course of what the true religion is that the first human beings on Earth allegedly practiced.
And to add to that, I got to bring up another example. Sikhism is exactly that. I mean, Guru Nanak, what was it, 400 years ago or so? I can't remember how long ago he lived. But he said that that God visited him with his revelation, as they all do, to say that neither of the two great religions, by the way, being Hinduism and Islam, Judaism and Christianity, were not popular enough in Punjab to warrant mention. But the two great religions, Islam and Hinduism, were half-truths each. And that God came to give Guru Nanak some sort of combination of these two is exactly what you're talking about, and that's what Sikhism is. And then it presents, okay, now Sikhism is the truth, and now they can get into military conflicts with Muslims and Hindus over their variants of that one truth, even though it's a combination of both of them.
If I could, I'll just briefly in sort of a bit of a defense. I should have really clarified. As far as I'm aware, most religions tend to be incompatible with each other. I mean, I think certainly when you're looking at the three great monotheisms of the world, and they largely purport to worship the same God, but I don't think you could necessarily get say your average Christian and your average Muslim, whatever those two terms may well mean, to say, oh yeah, like that's absolutely fine with this. That's absolutely fine that this guy is a Muslim. He's still going to make it to heaven. He's going to say that, well, no, that the two faith systems are incompatible.
Yeah, I think I had to be no older than 10 when I first noticed that the Muslims, the Jews, and the Christians were all worshiping the same God, and yet each of these three religions for the one true God have been at war with each other, each since their inception. Something has to be wrong here.